All right, so that's that. Here we are.
Here we are.
Here we are.
Episode 11.
We got it in, one way or the other, by hook or by crook, as they say. I don't know who they are, but somebody has said that once in history, right?
That is correct.
So 4 hours late than normal, but, you know, I say we'd rather get it done than not.
Well, I don't want to sell the show short. You seem kind of, Steve, worn down a little bit.
I don't wear down very often, so maybe if I didn't have to make a mad dash from the radio station that we were at on 50th and Dodge out to Elkhorn South to pick up an ungrateful child to bring her back home to complain that I was almost late for picking her up, which I wasn't even late.
Oh, okay.
I was almost late.
Oh, my God. That is, if there's one big pet peeve of mine, it's that. It's like busting your ass, you know, to get there, and then the kid is like indignant.
Oh,
just indignant.
And what I did, I sent her a text that I said basically, I might be there no later than 3:30. Normally I pick up at 3:23, so it would be a difference of 7 minutes if you can do the math. But in those 7 minutes, it would be so hellacious that my phone would keep buzzing that I would be more annoyed than if I just drove all the way out there and then picked her up, dropped her off at home, listened to a little bit of the show that we did today for 1290 Coil, and then got over here, and then by 6 o'clock tonight, I'll be on my way down to South Omaha to MC and speak more into a microphone for the Ray's Wings Brickway beer and wing pairing dinner with whiskey that I got right. I could not get right on the air today when we were on, and that goes from 7 to 9:30.
You're the hardest working man in Omaha, radio/internet pirate radio/bar event
person
person
that doesn't really profit very much from any of it. So big announcement today. If you were listening to 1290 Coil, Joel and I will be starting next Saturday with our own show that you'll be able to hear commercials. Like, it's a real deal.
It is a real deal. You'll be able to hear it on 1290 at 9 a.m. on Saturdays, and I'm really excited about it.
You'll be able to hear commercials for it starting on Monday on Power 106, on 1019 The Keg, 1620 The Zone,
1620 The Zone,
1290 Coil. So again, this is actually the start of our third week. So we started 2 weeks ago today at the Best Johnson Library.
At the Best Johnson
Joel
Library.
and I had a meeting today in Dave Tepper's office, who's the program director for AM stations of NRG.
Right.
To say this escalated quickly is not an understatement. So I don't know if anybody's listening at 4 o'clock
And a big thank
today.
you to all of you listening, because
it's the reason why
it's the reason why it is moving as quickly as it is.
And what was really cool is to talk to a few of the people there that the reason they're going to cross-promote the show as heavily as they are on other stations is because they believe it will take off quickly once people hear it. So,
and some of the things that we have in mind, I think, for that show, for the weekend show, is going to be in part to recap and maybe get into a little bit more depth on some of the subjects that we talk about during the week. Also, it's going to be much easier for us to have guests in.
And calling in.
And also calling in. And that's what I'm most excited about, Steve, is it's going to be, I kind of envision this, end of the week, we've covered a bunch of subjects throughout the week, and then at the end of the week, we're going to be able to at least have a segment where all of you can join us.
Right. And it's for everybody. We'll
right.
help lead the discussion that sometimes we'll give you things to think about. But this is a group project as we had hoped it would be from the start. Group projects also involve some money. So if you own a business and would like to advertise very, very cheaply, I might add.
Incredibly
be cross-promoted on several of the biggest stations in Omaha for a very low cost, we are your men to talk to. But actually talk to Joel, because I'll give away the farm for free, and Joel will actually get your checkbook number. So
yes, and so look on our Twitter page, look on our Twitter feed for the show, at Radio nOwhere OMA, I believe it is. And I'll have more information on that for everybody. Also, ways for you to get a hold of us if you are interested in it. But, you know, I think, Steve, you and I both feel as though this show is much larger than the two of us, that this is kind of an extension of a community.
Right.
And,
well, much like, when I hit that dive stuff, which I don't do all that often, it was never about me.
Right.
I am merely, and you are now joining along as co-hosts Or we're the what do you call it when you go?
The cruise director.
The cruise director, or what was the other thing I was thinking? We will be your tour guides.
Your tour guide
through information and stories that you might not have known, or that we might not have known, that we can help. As we said exactly 2 weeks ago and 4 hours ago at the Best Johnson Library, that we want this to be a group effort. That our names are on it simply because somebody had to do it. But this is something that we're all going to do. All right, we have not so much breaking news at the moment.
Right.
But we got some disturbing news that happened in town, and
Yeah.
it's still ongoing.
Yeah, and so this is one of the things that I want to talk about. And we mentioned it on 1290 when we were on the late morning show today. You were hosting. I was stopping in. I briefly got kicked to the kiddie table, but
there's only so many microphones.
There's only so many microphones.
And the show was already booked, so there wasn't anything I could do about that. So we kicked you out.
So there were a couple of incidents today here in town that were disturbing enough as is on their own, and became even more disturbing as more information has come out, and we can see that there's a pretty clear line linking them together. And so
it starts with the brawl at the courthouse, correct?
Correct. So, well,
what came first, the chicken or the egg?
The chicken. So it started this morning near 16th and Victor Street in North Omaha. Jarrell Haynes was shot twice.
Do we have an age on Jarrell Haynes?
I believe Jarrell is 22, yes.
Okay,
22.
so I didn't... Okay.
22 years old, and was shot twice near 16th and Victor, and was transported to Creighton University Medical Center, actually coded in the squad on the way there. They're able to resuscitate him, went into emergency surgery, but we have now learned has passed away from those gunshot wounds. That in and of itself, that was the first homicide we've had in Omaha.
That came an hour after we got done saying on 1290 Coil how there hadn't been a homicide in the city of Omaha in a month, or at least for the calendar month of February.
Right. And so we made it a month, and you know, it's never fully quiet in this town. There's always, you know, shots fired. You can, any night you listen to the police scanner, you'll hear shots fired somewhere. But, you know, especially compared to some of the months that we had during the summer where, you know, we actually had an Omaha shooting clock going at one time on Mean Streets, Omaha.
That.
Because it was so ridiculous that we couldn't go 15 minutes in this town without somebody being shot.
If only there were less guns.
Oh, we'll get into that. But,
I
just
popped my wrist, and it sounded really cool through the microphone. I apologize.
And I still can't hear anything through the microphone, so...
Really?
Yeah, it's fine. I don't care.
Are you sure?
Oh, now I can. Whoa.
You just weren't plugged in all the way.
Apparently. So...
What you can hear is a lot of people playing shuffleboard, which we normally don't have at 12 o'clock, but we are in a public space, so...
So we had our first murder, and in over a month. Disturbing enough as is, okay? But I think we've all kind of become numb to that.
We have, which is sad.
What became more disturbing, well, I guess the second event was outside of a courtroom where a murder trial is going on right now. Charles Trotter is on trial for the murder.
Say that 3 times fast.
Yeah.
Charles Trotter is on trial. Charles Trotter is on trial.
Right.
Charles Trotter is on trial. I actually got that right.
He is on trial for the murder of 2 individuals near where the murder this morning happened, in that same kind of area of town. If you remember, this happened earlier last year where 2 individuals, Marcel Lovejoy and I can't remember the other victim's name, were sitting in a car and were basically killed execution style. So Charles Trotter is being... his trial began today in that case. A brawl took place outside of that courtroom where family members were screaming and spitting at each other and trying to fight.
Was it a Trump rally?
It was crazy. If there are two people that you don't follow that you need to follow, one is Cooper on Courts from the Omaha World Herald, Todd Cooper, and the second is Aaliyah Connolly. Her Twitter handle is at Aaliyah Valentine, ALIA Valentine. Both are reporters for the Omaha World Herald on the sort of courts and crime beat, and they both had fantastic coverage of these cases today, including video of the brawl outside.
I haven't seen the video yet.
Oh, yeah.
Is it worth checking out?
It's fantastic. Oh, fantastic. I shouldn't say that.
Does it look like a hockey parent fight, or is it...
It's everything that you could imagine it to be, right?
It's that good. Or bad.
Right. I mean, it's like a train wreck, right? Whatever.
Everybody likes a train wreck for a little bit until you realize it's a fight at a courthouse where somebody's being charged with murder.
Exactly.
Oh, wonderful.
So it gets worse.
It gets worse. It doesn't get better. It gets worse.
Right. So Tom Riley, the public defender here, the public defender for Douglas County, came out and said, all right, shuffleboard's getting crazy over there. He came out
Don't you people have homes?
And confirmed that the man shot at 16th and Victor died, and that it was, quote, retaliation of some type involving this case. And the case that he was referring to was the Trotter trial. Turns out that Jarrell Haynes, who passed away earlier today, is the cousin of Marcel Lovejoy.
Oh, boy, all right.
Who is one of the victims in the Trotter trial. And reports later came out that Aaliyah Connolly and Todd Cooper did a great job reporting on. They reported later in the day that it is suspected that Jarrell Haynes was followed from the courthouse.
Really?
Where he was there to witness the trial, was followed from the courthouse to 16th and Victor, and was murdered there. So...
That's no drive-by.
No.
I mean, it could have been drive-by style, but this was cold,
this wasn't random. Calculated.
Right.
They were stalking him. He was prey. And so it is one of those things where now they put the trial in recess in the afternoon.
I mean, what do you do at that point? You can't keep powering on with the trial. What
they were considering was a couple options. They were considering declaring a mistrial.
I don't think you can do that.
And then the judge was also considering taking the jury and sequestering them, which is actually what the
I would do that for their own safety, if nothing else.
And that was the determination that he came to. So that jury in the Trotter trial is now going to be sequestered at an Omaha hotel, and do
you get sequestered at a good hotel? Do you think?
I doubt it. Come on.
That's what I was wondering. It's not going to be like Magnolia, right?
We can't fix the potholes in this town. Do you think that?
What's that one on 60th and L?
Oh, the Travel Inn or something?
No, it's like the Starlight. It's got like that little love nest upstairs.
Yeah. Okay.
It looks like a lighthouse.
Funny stories about that. Right?
Okay.
So
does it involve a sheet deposit?
No, there's so many urban legends about that place.
Oh, I bet there is.
There's like one urban legend that there's like a Howard Hughes type recluse who's also a dwarf who lives in the upper level, and the upper level is all built towards dwarf scale. That was one of them.
I didn't know that was a distinction of how you could build something to dwarf scale.
Actually, again, I'm way sidetracked here, but
no,
it's okay.
It's been a busy, chatty day.
It has been, and this is my last show of the week, so it's almost like a Friday to me. There actually was a house. Did you read that in the paper over in Council Bluffs?
Built to dwarf size?
Built to dwarf size,
no.
And they were like vaudeville performers.
They're circus folk.
Yes, yeah. Carnies, small hands,
or circus
smell
people.
like cabbage. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly. So
I like it.
We should look that up. We should go there. Anyway, add it to a bus tour.
Which I have a new bus tour coming up, by the way.
Yeah. I don't even know where I was.
Back to the circus people. Or back to the motel on 60th and L.
Right. So, so they're going to be sequestered. I don't know how long the trial was planned to go, but, surprisingly, these trials actually don't go very long. You know, we all have like the OJ trial in our mind where it's like, you know, drawn out over a year's length or whatever. But usually these trials don't go that long, matter of weeks usually. So
now, do we have what other? Just because of hosting today for 3 hours, I haven't been as diligent as I could be on local stories. Other than we talked about the right to farm constitution bill.
But just to put a bow on...
Yeah, I know. Let's finish this one.
Let's finish this story. To put a bow on it, I mean, it's really concerning to me, and it was much more concerning when I saw a tweet from one of the gang unit officers that said, quote, trouble in North Omaha today, shooting at 16th and Victor, fight at murder trial of gang member. It's going to be violent the next few days. So I read that, and also having listened to enough of the police scanner for a long enough time, and in talking to some of the folks associated with Mean Streets Omaha, and they're all expecting it to be a very busy night tonight in retaliation, and I'm very worried. I'm very worried about what's going to happen tonight into the weekend here in Omaha, in particular in that community up in North Omaha, as far as retaliation. And
I know that's coming. I mean, we've already been warned. So thanks to Bill Bruno for writing it on Twitter. The name of the motel is the Satellite.
The Satellite. I always call it the Starlight too.
I always call it. We should do a show from there. See what they charge. I grew up right off the Pennsylvania Turnpike, and there were no-tell motels up and down the main drag there, where they had the short stay or they had a full night stay. And we were always told the short stay was for truckers that were a little sleepy, which was complete nonsense. Because one of my friends went to check in there once for the short stay with a date of his. They asked him for a sheet deposit.
Oh my God!
He said even he, in taking a girl to a crappy ass motel, even he was skeeved out by the sheet deposit and decided maybe he should not be there.
You think? Is that your first clue? I mean, my first clue would have been short stay, okay?
There was a big billboard, and my mom can back me up, like right by, not too far from where I grew up. It was a short stay. It was like $27. If you wanted to stay all night, it was like $54.
Okay.
I might be off on my numbers.
Okay, if you can't draw like a bright line from A to B on that one.
I just thought it was for sleepy truckers.
Anyway,
is there any other than...
Anyway, you know, Shelley gets offended, right?
Right, she's probably not listening right now.
Right?
She didn't even listen to the 3 hours I was on. We were
on. I'm getting texts from Kate and Emma right now. That Emma is telling Kate apparently that I should not refer to that fight as being awesome. Someone died, and that I'm being too hard on dwarfs today.
I don't mind fact checking. It's that we get it real time from our own families.
I know.
And I guess if your family... Oh, apparently somebody just got knocked off the board on the shuffleboard table. Apparently if your family can't tell you that you're offending people live as you're talking and offending people, then I guess who can?
Yeah,
I thought that's what the internet comment section was for.
Yeah, I don't have my computer up.
Did we mention that?
And you need to mute your phone because your phone is doing.
Well,
the same
hang on,
thing
that was Shelley. So this, she is listening. Oh dear. Okay. So, but I'm not in trouble currently. Did we mention that at Asian Joe Evans is sitting across the table from us, videotaping this?
Did you ever get the thing to work?
The audio is a little sketchy, so I will dub over with.
All right.
He'll make
There's going to be video from today.
Yeah, I mean, of all days when we're running around scattered. Well, that looks pretty good.
So you have an event tonight. What is the event?
I have an event. It is, and I just got told I'm offensive all the time. So thanks, honey. Well, luckily I won't be home for dinner. So I am hoping this is the third Ray's Wings beer dinner hosted by Hit That Dive, and it's been a different brewery every time. First one was Boulevard. The second one was Imperium out of Lincoln. This is with Zach Tremert out, and he owns Brickway Distillery and Brewery, who he
was on 1290.
He was on 1290 Coil. They
sent me to the kids' table.
He's the reason you went to the kids' table. So it's going to be a beer pairing dinner with wings, where you get, there's 5 courses, quote unquote, and each course has a different Ray's Wings sauce on it. You get 2 to 3 wings, and you get either 6 ounces of beer or an ounce of whiskey. And you have, Zach.
Now, I've heard wine and cheese pairings, right?
Correct.
and I've heard of other types of culinary pairings. I've never heard of a wings pairing with anything.
Well, yes, and I agree, but there are times where people, some people aren't going to go to a wine and cheese pairing, but they do want to have a new experience and learn a little bit about the history of it. And you have to clean your glasses.
I do.
Right
I can't see anything right now.
Well, how did your glasses get?
I don't know.
You're so generally neat and clean and well groomed. How did your glasses get as skeevy as
I picked up the kids from school.
How did that?
Just believe me. Just believe me. They're 8 and 10-year-old boys.
So Bonnie wrote in, our family stayed at the Satellite back in the 70s during a blizzard on our way back to Chicago. Rooms had linoleum and about 7 beds in the rooms.
So it was a hostel.
What a tree freshener everywhere. Smells like curry there now. I say go.
So I have a great story. So when Kate and I...
This is what happens when you're on the radio first.
So when Kate and I were moving back from Kansas City, right, we were looking for a place to rent when we were moving back to Omaha from Kansas City.
Did it smell like curry?
And then we were going to build a house. And so we went and we looked at this house over by Scott High School. Like the back of the house looked out on like Scott's football field. And, we're walking up to it and it looks nice. And we're like, yeah, this could be the house. And we walk in and there's like peanut butter and jelly like smeared across the walls. And the entire house just reeked of curry. And
I don't exactly know what curry smells like. Is it like...
We get out of the house, and Kate's just like, no, I will not move back here if you make me live there. We will never get the smell of curry out of anything in there.
Wow. We talked about Mitt Romney having an announcement. Dana Bash wrote on Twitter a little while ago, she reports Mitt Romney won't announce he is running and won't endorse anyone else in tomorrow's speech.
So that is like the Chuck Hagel. So to set this up for everybody who may not have been...
General Francisco Franco is still dead. There are just certain things you don't need an announcement for.
If you weren't listening with us on 1290 earlier today, Mitt Romney basically came out earlier and said that he was going to have some big announcement regarding the 2016 presidential case or race on Thursday. And so we kind of ran with it a bit and used our imaginations thinking that maybe he would run as a third-party candidate, maybe he would endorse someone. But apparently now from Dana Bash we learned that this is the Chuck Hagel. He is going to have a Chuck Hagel press conference. If you remember from 2012, Chuck Hagel called a press conference here in Omaha, and the D.C. media all flew in expecting him to announce that he was going to run for president in 2012.
Right.
And he had a press conference where he said he hadn't made up his mind whether or not he's going to run for president yet.
But I do believe I'll have the veal. Joe Bartek writes in a very good point. He goes, this went off the tracks really quickly.
It did.
And I had to point out that after doing 3 hours and then running around to be dads to pick up kids and drop them off and continue on with your day, this is what you get later in the day. You want to talk about the farm bill, the right to farm? There's a bill in. I
want to talk about this maybe next week because I want to do a little bit of research.
Just a point. There's a piece of legislation in the unicameral right now that we don't know who wrote it, but it is an amendment to the Constitution of Nebraska that is a right to farm bill. I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means either, and Neil Nelkin made a great point as to who he questioned who's pushing this, what special interest is pushing this, and what's their angle with it, and that's what I want to do some research on and find out. The second thing is, it also just reeks of one of these stupid wastes of time that just pisses me off every time any legislative body does it, where it's like, it's kind of like we're going to measure. Oh, I love farmers more than you. Oh, no, you don't. I'm going to put forth a constitutional amendment saying that I love farmers. It's just crap, and it's a complete waste of time.
What little radio person I have inside of me, when you said that, if we were in the studios at 1290, which we will be on Saturday starting next week, I could have hit a little button and it would have played the farmersonly.com jingle, which I think would have just punctuated that perfectly. Everybody listening, sing it in your head right now.
No.
You don't have to be lonely at farmersonly.com. See? And I can't sing as obvious.
So don't you want to kind of catfish, like, You kind of want to catfish farmersonly.com just to see what responses you would actually get.
I hear it's
I would.
It's a secret society to get into, according to Crash Davis, who walked me through how you have to. There's you have to be able to prove you're a gentleman farmer.
The passcode is
Mayberry, and my mom will get that reference. We've got 3. So you're out of town.
I am out of town the rest of the week.
At M. Schafer are going to
yes.
Denver.
My beautiful daughter Emma and I will be on the road tomorrow. We're heading out to Denver with her volleyball team, which is currently rated 28th maybe in the nation for 15-year-old volleyball
We're
teams.
the 28th rated radio show in Omaha right now, too, so I think that's a pretty neat correlation.
It is. And she and her team, Premier 15 Gold, will be trying to qualify for nationals at the Colorado Crossroads qualifier. So 3 days of me in a convention center, watching a lot of volleyball played at a very high level, and hopefully Em and her team can get it done and come home with a golden ball.
The golden ball would be nice. Tomorrow I also am hosting all 3 hours on the late morning show, so I don't have any guests booked. Why? I take it back. Katie McCarthy from the Lady Hibernians will be on.
And when you say Katie McCarthy, I am obligated. It's in my contract to say Fake Tish.
Fake Tish from ABQ, who may be listening right now. I will have as Joel, since you won't be there, I always need a sidekick that I trust. And I like Neil just fine, and Cam is, we all do great together, but Matt Whipke has agreed to come back in. Whipke plays on Friday night at the Holland Center. If you don't have your tickets yet, I think they're $12 or $15. He's going to play his album Penny Park, which is a tribute to his youth at Peony Park in its entirety. So it's a double album.
See, you never knew Peony Park.
I've seen the pictures, and it looks awesome.
I could go on about the black hole at Peony Park. That was, you wanted the right girl to go to meet you at Peony Park so you could go in the black hole at Peony Park. Because it was...
I needed Ed McMahon to give a hey-o right there. The black hole of Peony Park means nothing to me, but it may mean something to somebody. I wanted to do, when I was filling in for Bob every now and then on 1290 Coil, I wanted to do almost a Peony Park tribute show, because I didn't grow up at, but the amusement park in Pittsburgh was called Kennywood Park, and if we would ever do a Kennywood Park show in Pittsburgh, you would have hundreds of people calling in with their memories, with their, my grandfather went to Kennywood Park, so I'm sure there are people around town whose families for generations went to Peony Park. Now you can go there and go to the Keno Place and then the Hy-Vee, which I think is a complete crime, which is...
And a Fazoli's.
I don't know, is that an Italian joint?
It's terrible.
How bad is that?
Terrible.
Actually, the wings, and Bill Bruno will back me up on this as well, who wrote in
Big Red Keno?
That they have great wings.
I hear that their burgers are great, too.
It's just, it's better than hanging out in Horseman's Park, I'll put it that way.
I've never been to Horseman's Park.
I took my 11-year-old when he was 9 years old there. And we were
Father of the year.
We were there for about 30 seconds.
Father of the year.
And he goes, Dad, this scares me. And I go, I'm kind of with you. So
that's kind of like when Kate and I took Emma when she was about 2 years old. We took her to what was Skateland, now it's Skate Days. And the guy, we'd walk up to it, and the guy holding the door open for us to walk in his other hand, he has an infant carrier with an infant inside, and he has a cigarette dangling out of his mouth while he's holding the door open with his infant carrier. And Kate and I kind of looked at each other and said to ourselves,
what could be wrong with that? All right, Joel. So you're out of town. I don't know what the plan is for tomorrow's show. Friday, I believe, Spadilla will be on with me.
Yes, and I may tape something tonight that we play tomorrow in this place. You may tape something. We may tape something together. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I may do the show live from my phone with Emma holding the phone for me while I talk going across this country.
Speaking of Dad of the Year, that sounds good and safe. Tomorrow, make sure you're dialed into 1290 Coil for more details about how we do Radio Nowhere tomorrow. Joel Schafer, I'm Steve Gates. You're out, and I'll see you on Monday, right, buddy?
Sounds good, sir.
All right.